Start out with pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Call the meeting to order. We have the agenda ahead of us. Is there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
I'd move to accept today's agenda as presented.
I'll second that
Okay,
motion.
got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we have the minutes from last Monday's board meeting. Has everybody got a chance to review those?
First meeting we've had in a long time on Central Time. The minutes look good. I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I meant standard Central as opposed to daylight savings.
Okay, so with that, Dave's not here yet.
Look who's back. Welcome back.
Missed you guys.
Aye.
Couldn't keep your
Let's
one
see,
straight.
can you go down to, should we go down to payables and do payables first until Dave gets here?
Certainly can.
That's what the chairperson has.
I don't know, I don't think I had any questions.
I've got four and pulled. One that I want to comment on is on the general supplemental auditor for the elections. It's amazed me how expensive some of that stuff is. There's a on page 6, there's 5,637 and 2,768. And one of them is to program everything to make sure it works right, and the other one is for paper ballots. Gotta buy the paper ballots either from the company that makes the machine or one other company, so it's a little bit of a racket there. You can't just
Right.
go down to the local print shop and have them done. Have to spend thousands. You could print a book for that almost, I think, so. And then on the Van Zuden thing, I picked up the septic. There was a 3,600 and a 3,400, but I caught later on where there was the 3,600 was refunded. And I
Correction,
confirmed-
yeah.
I confirmed that that's what that was. That's what it appeared to be.
Are we done fixing that?
Yeah, did I tell you they were pumping it out and it collapsed? The septic tank collapsed, so they had to replace it.
Yeah, you had said they kind of kept running into issues.
Yeah, yeah, I got more to report.
Okay.
There's no further questions. I'd make a motion to accept and approve today's payables.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the payables. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, with that, we'll go up to the first item, secondary roads. Dave?
Morning.
Hi, David.
Good morning, Dave.
Lucked out I wasn't late. I don't think I was.
We did one. Leave that check mark down there.
Sorry I'm late.
Just give you a tardy.
Oh, that's, got 3 utility permits, 2 from Windstream. First one from Windstream is on 190th Street, kind of south of Lauderdale. All they're doing is running from a PED to a place to where they had trouble. I think they have 790 feet that they're gonna put in the shoulder of the road and out from the PED. There's the first one. The second one is from Windstream, just a real minor involvement. I think this must be at that John Judson's place south of Dedham. They've got a very nice drawing, pictures. They're going up the driveway. But the only place they'd be involved with us is where they're passing from the pedestal within the right-of-way, through a little dab of right-of-way, onto the driveway. You can see it in this picture here, so it's real minor involvement. There's two of those. And the last one is a rural water one. It's a road crossing, a road bore with a 2-inch pipe. This one is just to the east of Roselle on 245th Street, that paving. There's a new house going in by a pond down there. You probably have seen it if you've been out and about. So they're just gonna take the water service across 245th Street, parallel to Kitty Hawk.
Did you say 240?
245th, yeah.
Yeah.
Who takes care of the utility permits and that good road, that Class C one down there by, east of Peterson? North of, George Fletcher
George
lives.
Lucky.
Yeah, and that goes south and east. Is that all the county does that?
We've got the bridge inspection on that.
That's one wrapped over.
That's on maintenance, so.
Well, there should be one coming there for plowing and field, so I'm gonna be caught it later.
That's by that bridge that Rapid Rollback questioned here a while back.
Yeah, that one that Mitch went and inspected on his way home to see.
Yeah.
It's amazing how some roads get a lot more attention than others. It's interesting. They're inspecting the bridge because it's on the north side of their county. So they got that, but that's our road for maintenance. So I would assume we'd get the utility permit.
If there's no objections, I'd make a motion to approve the utility permits for today.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. We need a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the utility permits, and is there any other discussion? If there's none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Just kind of keep going here.
Yeah.
We've got the final vouchers for the final 3% on the Willie and Roselle projects. It's just the final 3% that it doesn't even show up on this. It's been so long since I've done a paper voucher. We've done these electronically for so long, but there's a place for the board to sign. And as I recall, on the final voucher, these paper vouchers, we had the board sign. I'm not sure if we need to make a resolution or just a motion, I guess, to sign the vouchers, just to
Make a motion.
Certainly need a motion.
And it's printed in 146 and 147, FMCO 14, parentheses 146, and 1 parentheses 147.
And that's the final 3%.
The final 3%, yeah, the retainage.
Okay.
Does that come from DOT or federal
No,
DOT or state?
we generate these, and generally we use a program called Field Manager and generate them electronically. It's all done electronically, but for some reason or another, they didn't give us any Field Manager on this one, and we're unwilling to do it.
Okay, but the payment comes through
The payment
Iowa
comes
DOT.
through, Yeah.
Yep, go ahead with your motion, Gene.
I'll make
sorry.
a motion to approve the final vouchers for those two projects.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the final vouchers for
Where's
the
the-
two projects.
Where's the dollar amount on here for the final dollar amount?
No, those are just quantities. It doesn't even show on there. It'd be 3% of the contract, so it'd be roughly $30,000.
Okay, so the amount's not on here then?
No.
Okay, all right.
They
For
do
each
all-
one?
They do all that. No, for the combined.
So we're talking about-
Combined projects were a little less
That'd
than $1
be right.
million.
Okay.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Now, call for the vote. All in favor of approving the vouchers, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Who had the second on that?
I did.
Mark did.
We've got 2 certificates of completion. The first one's for the RISE project, Norris Asphalt. And actually, the local project along with it, they were both under the same project number, RC-C014, parentheses, 156-9A-14.
So there's 2 certificate of completions?
We've got one for the culverts too, so there's,
Oh, okay.
there was a Division 1 and Division 2, but they carried just the one project number. So we're making final payment on that today, and we need to do these today too. Make that okay. And second certificate of completion is to Rogers Brothers Excavating for the 4 box culverts they had, all LFM, F30, F26, F27, and F27-1. Look at that. We used to have simple project numbers. F27, parentheses, 1-7X-14.
Are these the 4 that were basically on hold? I think they weren't.
That one off on Jade, yeah.
Yeah, one right off on Jade Restaurant, and the other 3 right on Old 30.
They did a really swell job. We hope they come back. That Robbins, we're really pleased with.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah, culverts look good, and they did a good job on compaction and excavating and joining landowners. They didn't mess up anything there to, any more than what they had to, just a little bit. Real pleasant to work with.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate, not separate motions, I assume, don't you?
Sure, yeah.
I'll make a motion for approve the completion of the Ralston Rise project.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the completion of the Ralston Rise project. Any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we will do a second.
I'll move to approve the precast box culvert projects.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the precast box culvert projects. Any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We've got 2 drains. Marvin Frischmeyer called, I think, back on the 29th of October, and they went out there and fixed that one. It had been a place where they worked before. There were 2 holes. I think they were right close to each other, and hopefully they've got it to the point there was some busted tile down the line. It's on a 15-inch tile, and they replaced some other busted ones. And I think hopefully they got it fixed to where they won't have to work on it anymore. It's drain 36 in section 36 of Sheridan, which is right over by Litterdale, just to the east of Litterdale, yeah. And the second one, I had a call from Randy Eichman this morning on drain 89, which we called Soup Bowl 89 for years because it has a lot of quicksand on it. And Randy said he's got a hole there, concerned about it. It's where a private tile intersects a 10-inch tile. We're gonna go down there and check it out, maybe today, see if we can look at it. It got so bad back in the 90s that we had to hire Van Allen Keller to come out with well points, and they had a little well point to quicksand, so we could work in there. And paid them $10,000 just to de-water the site. And
Where's that at?
that's down in section 22 of Union Township. Back in the 70s, the county dug it open with the drag drag line had a hole about the size of a football field. And they'd dig out one bucket, and it was back in the days before excavators, and 3 more with quicksand would come in. And hopefully we're not into it big time there, but we've done some work. In the 90s, we did some work at this location, and we think it's a connection that failed. And so hopefully we won't be in for an unpleasant experience like we've had in the past.
Are you seeking a motion to approve the repair on it today, or to investigate the repair?
To investigate and do a minor repair. If it goes
If it's a minor
beyond
repair.
that, then we'll have to bring it back, I think. It appears that it's a 5-inch tile connecting to a 10-inch tile. And our other, in the past, we were dealing with larger tiles that were deep. And this is not as deep. It's about 4 foot deep, though there is quicksand there too.
And what was the drain again, I'm sorry?
Drain 89.
89, okay.
That was section what of
Section
Union?
22 of
22.
Union.
Okay.
Is it just north of Coon?
No, he's in Union.
Northeast.
Just kind of
Yeah, northwest.
from that
West
block
block.
out there, so it's just kind of right where those curves there.
It's kind of in that Seven Bridges area.
It's pretty marshy through there.
It's just a lot of sand. Hopefully at 4 feet you don't run into quicksand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to get a
He
good.
said he had his spade in there. He's got his own backhoe, and he dug a hole, and he dropped his spade along his private tile, and he'd drop it in the water, and it would go to the handle. And that doesn't sound real good, but
Mhm.
there, you see, he was able to keep it dewatered with this small pump. So,
Hmm.
But the tile runs about 4 feet deep there.
That's what he was thinking. Showing a 14-inch.
yeah, that we bypassed in, I think it was 94, Marty, with 2 10s.
Mhm.
We bid it, doing a 15 or an alternate 14 with the sock on.
Okay.
And we went with 2 10s with the sock on, just because we had a lot of quicksand infiltration,
Mhm.
and ran a 10 down each side. It's kind of one of those red lines, aren't we? Abandoned that original, so 14, because it was bad.
10 with the sock on it, that should take care of that.
It should, yeah. That's what Randy thinks it's at, the connection of where the T is, where his 5-inch was.
Okay.
And so hopefully it won't be.
Into that.
North again. Directly north.
Small drain.
Very small.
So you don't-
Oh, we had some
you have to pay for that.
huge bills to pay.
Oh, God.
Well, let's go ahead and make a motion to approve both of the repairs, but the repair on 82 would be a,
89.
or 89, I'm sorry, would be a minor repair, and you come back if it needs more.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the repair on drain 36 and drain 89. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor for approving the repair, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Got an email from the district that the 70 by 30 continuous concrete slab that we propose to build with federal aid on the 5 House Road, or 9 and 16 Washington, is set for the December 15th letting that we had it in there. We've done all the plans and all that other stuff, and we've got 55 working days on it, with a late start date in 2016, and 08 of 2016, so there'd be a good chance that we could let this December and then not start till next August. And it's on the farm market system. We paid 80/20. Guess we've done everything else, we've approved the plan, this is kind of the final thing, scheduling for the letting and the working days, 55 working days, which should be that.
Not sure I got the same information. What's the location on that?
9 and 16 Washington.
3/4 mile west of Mount Allison.
3/4 mile.
3/4 mile west. cost.
Okay,
calls.
okay.
Sounds
On
good.
calls, yep, that's the
40th.
Okay.
call for Virginia Halber Bridge.
Virginia Halber one, yeah.
Yep,
Right
exactly.
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that
Well,
was going down
we had set that for December 15th quite a while ago, hadn't we?
quite a while ago, yeah. And it just, this is the last thing, the contract time information that
Okay.
they send out. So it's, looks like everything's good for a go and
Great.
gonna go on that. I had a phone company contact me, the one that supplied our phones, and telling us our phones are obsolete, which actually our box is obsolete. And, they no longer have parts or service for it. We've had that for quite some time, so they gave us a quote, and we're gonna get one from our local provider too. I'll bring a couple quotes for Form's phone system. Our system hasn't failed. But if it does, we probably, have to go this route and get a whole new system, which might take a while, and we might not get phone calls during it. We could probably jerry-rig something to make that work. But anyway, I'll bring them up to you next week. If I get two competitive quotes, and you can tell me what to do. Other than that, I think that's all I've got.
State.
Looks like you guys got a busy agenda.
Yes, we do. Thanks for being part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I found some maps and whatnot that should be useful.
Yeah, I was looking at the drainage map, and it's not very clarified on there, so.
No, there are 3 tiles there, an A, B, and a C, and it's clearer on that one. It's all made up.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you a call tomorrow morning. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go down to, do you want to do the Canvas city election?
It's gonna take, but it doesn't matter, I'm just, if we wanted to do it all together, it will take some time.
Are Justin and Angela coming over this morning?
Pat should be here, should have been here, yeah. I told them all around
Will this diamond
9:15.
thing take long?
No, that shouldn't take
And
long.
the flats won't take long?
Yeah, we could do that. Let's go to the Diamond Communication, that's in your packet. Got a call from Kim Herrigal last week, and she just sent me the packet, or emailed me, it's in her packet that she put together. Basically what this is kind of like the PowerPoint discussion, and I said, well, I said we can look at it, I don't know that we'll act on it. If we want to do anything, we can do the same as we did with PowerPoint. And I said, that's up to the board, what we want to do, if we want to proceed, or if we would just want to leave it be. So that's kind of where things are sitting at this point. If we have questions, we can call her.
Well, I was really disappointed at the bids we got for Tower Point. Perhaps we have an obligation to taxpayers to look at different opportunities so we don't miss something better. But rather than do a lot of footwork and checking out these companies, I would like them to give us a proposal. And if we happen to accidentally get a proposal that we like, then we'll do our due diligence and check it out. In this Tower Point, we did a lot of due diligence to find out that the bid was so bad that we didn't, we didn't want it. And I just have a few points. They had some reasons why we should look at their thing, and one was immediate cash payout. And I'm okay with that, and the reason I'm okay with that is you eliminate your future risk, If things can go wrong where you don't get paid in the future. But I also have a little bit of concern with it. If you take a lump sum payment, you just have one big payment. And it's hard to coordinate with taxation. And the way we tax our people, it's actually cash flows or works better to have a reasonable amount coming in each year. So there's a trade-off there between cash flow and also getting your money in advance. And I don't know, they all say that they'll get more people on there and get more revenue, but there's never any guarantee of that. I wouldn't make that for make any change on that promise. So I guess my thing is, show them what we got. Tell them if they put in a reasonable bid, we'll consider it, but
Mhm.
we're not gonna, I don't plan on wasting my time doing a lot of due diligence and then get such a low bid that it's not even worth considering.
And that's what I told her. I said, there's no guarantee, and she said she had no problem with that. So, I mean, do we want to move forward like we did with Tower Point and give a copy of the lease and that information to her and let her put a proposal together?
I don't. That's up to the board whether they want to give a copy of that. There's a,
Because, I mean, that's the
if
only
they
way
got a
to-
copy, they got a target to beat. If they don't have a copy, I don't know what they would base their bid on.
Yeah, yeah, that's just it. I mean,
It would be like sealed bids maybe, I don't know.
I don't know if you have to go through the whole goddamn contract to lease. I'm just giving what our payment schedule is, and that's it.
That'd be reasonable. That's all they need, Gene.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they don't need to know the rest.
yeah.
And personally, after the last deal, I'm not too
That's-
excited.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, there's no guarantee in this thing that we're gonna follow through with it.
I
I
mean,
said,
I still think that I don't wanna lose control of that tower myself.
Exactly.
I had very little interest in it beforehand, and afterwards I've got even less interest in it. But I'll go along with the wishes of the board. I'd just soon leave it alone, but
Yeah, I think we owe it to the taxpayers to do something to find out, to verify, you know, what their offer would be. So I would be in favor of.
Well, I'm sure it's not gonna be what we're getting now.
I'm just curious as to why so much of this is going on right now.
You know, just in visiting with her, there's over 50 of these companies in the United States doing this, buying them towers.
Geez, so we're probably not done yet.
Yeah. In talking to the guy from Chicago, from Sell It Auction, he is basically a broker. And he said basically what a lot of these companies will do, will put a group of towers together and then sell them off. So, I mean, it's a brokering system is what it is.
That's why if we continue with a month or annual payment, I can't see our guarantee or payment getting any better when they buy it and then they sell it. You're getting passed down the line, your control is getting weakened at every moment, and you.
Yeah.
So, in the absence of a cash advance, I'm quite reluctant to sell it to speculators, and that's what you're doing.
Mhm.
You know, and you make a good point. This idea, it's a one-time cash influx, then it's gone.
Mhm.
Whereas that annual payment, it's an annual contribution towards taxes. So you wind up with big swings.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, there's some significant difference between private business and government. In private business, a cash upflow upfront would be very advantageous. We don't have very many investment opportunities because we have to keep our money very secure. So it's not like this money is going to get invested and grow. And secondly, it sort of creates a target for different projects that probably should be cash flowed out a little differently. It isn't good for our cash flow with taxes. You can't stop taxing and then start taxing. It's better to keep that on an even ebb.
well, and although I understand and appreciate, the sentiment towards the taxpayers, and we owe it to them to investigate, there's not gonna be a greater sum from anybody, and that ultimately benefits the taxpayers in the end, with the current situation we've got today. Bottom line is we're not gonna get more than what we're getting, so.
That might be a comment you might make to her is, if you can beat this,
Yeah.
we'll listen,
Yeah.
but I'm not really in favor of them
Putting a lot of
buying towers, pooling
Mhm.
50 of them and then reselling them again. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I'm not interested at all.
I kind of feel the same way. If we can give her a payment schedule and just let her put a proposal together, and we can either accept it or deny it, and then it's done.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Courtney, you wanted to email that payment schedule to her
Yes.
then? And then I'll get in touch with her today and let her know that's coming. And then if she, we'll give her, maybe next week, we'll put it back on the agenda.
Okay.
Just to see what the quotes, if she's got the quotes. And then we'll review it and either accept it or deny it.
Okay.
You know, just as the last point, they probably do much better buying these towers from private individuals because they can change income into capital gains if it's properly done, which is a big tax advantage to a lot of people. Government can't take advantage of that.
Right.
That's a null and void and meaningless to us. So even though you think, since they're buying a lot of towers, they gotta be doing something right in the payment, but we're in a different situation.
Well, and I think they're hitting up people, government agencies that also probably are strapped for money compared to what we are.
Right.
And that's where they're getting their foothold at.
That's very possible.
And there's small independent telephone companies in the state of Iowa right now that are struggling,
Mhm.
who own towers.
Yeah, and this is a cash flow system for them.
So I can see where they're probably shaking the tree.
Mhm. Okay. Leave that at that then, and we'll go from there. Okay, with that, next item, we'll go down to approving the plats. You got 3 plats today. One is in Wheatland, section 25. These are in your packets. Another one is in Ewald, section 30, and the last one is in Pleasant Valley, section 7.
This is the first time we've ever had a perfectly circular plat.
Okay, that's the one that I had the question on. 2 weeks in a row, I get stumped on a plat.
It's a
So,
well.
is that what that is a well?
Yeah.
And
Yep, there's a wellhead
It's
there.
under 3 acres, but being it's an existing acreage as it is.
You know, it's kind of not really an acreage, it's an open field.
Mhm.
It has an existing structure there, which is the wellhead, and it is under 3 acres.
Actually, the wellhead is on a different property.
Isn't the wellhead,
There's one to the south, a square piece, this piece here is rural water.
existing well?
And that's what I'm thinking they're doing there too, because it's in that rural water well field.
So what would be the purpose of having this little lot in this acreage?
They apparently have or are going to have a well there, and they want access around it.
Mhm.
That's my understanding. A little bit speculative there,
Probably be a lot like an easement, probably,
I think so.
is my guess.
And it's just right out in the middle of a section. It's not even close to a road hardly.
Yeah.
It's a unique location. But am I correct, from my aerial observation, there's no buildings or anything out there?
At least as of the
There's
latest pictometry.
Right.
There wasn't, but
The only reason I found
About a
where that
year
was
and a
at
half
was
old.
because of this piece here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I found it came to the conclusion with. And you're right, it's just right out in the middle, nowhere.
Yeah, there's the center of the section, and there's no roads, there's not like a road going to the center section, well, there's the center of the section right there, it abuts it. And we keep, I've used the term 3 acres, but 5 acres is the key amount.
5?
5
Right,
acres.
Right.
5 acres is the key
Yep.
amount.
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily have a concern with it, it's just one that I had never seen before, and I'm citing my lack of experience.
Well, our experience has been the same. We've never seen a round one in the middle of a section like this before. That's not a building site, and it has to do with a well rather than any type of other structure. I would be in favor of, even if it is an exception to the rule, actually, because I understand what they're doing. They want to have control around their wellhead.
Yep.
Mhm.
and,
For access.
Well, and the thing is, from what I can see, that aerial, that area is not even farmed. That's probably why it's circular.
yeah, it isn't, it's pretty rough, it's not farm, it's the Barsby place out there, so.
Mhm.
And it's just south of the Four Corners Park, right there.
And the rest all look like they're dividing up property.
Mhm. One's part of an estate, and the other one, the one out south of Carroll, that's part of an estate. She just
Yeah.
passed away.
I would propose that we approve the other two plats, the Stork and the Pedic one, which are very acceptable. And then on this one, I just want to make sure if we do approve it, we are doing it correctly. I don't have a problem with it, I just want to make sure we follow the right procedure on this.
Mhm.
So I will move to.
There's no problem with that one. I mean, it's not a building site, so it doesn't have to be 5 acres.
Yeah.
So what?
It doesn't have to be 5 acres, because it's a well, I don't think.
No, it doesn't, you can't build on it unless it's 5 acres.
You can't plat off a piece of bare ground unless it's 5 acres. If it is a building site, it can be less than 5 acres.
You can if it is agriculture.
Well, I don't think this is agriculture. You're correct, that agriculture is an exception. Is this an ag well?
Supplies egg.
Hmm?
It supplies egg.
I just want to follow the right procedure. We're gonna get this done one way or the other, Gene, I just want to do the correct procedure. I'm all in favor of it.
I don't think it's an issue.
You don't think it's an issue?
Nope.
We can check with Carl.
We can check with Carl, but I don't think it's an issue. You can sell off 2 acres anywhere you want. As long as you don't build a house on it, a dwelling, it has to be 5 acres for a dwelling. I'll check with Carl, but I don't see an issue.
Oh, well, we just have Carl come up there.
Yeah, we can do that.
You can just buzz him.
Yeah.
Just buzz Carl.
You know his number right off?
He'll
Well, it's extension 167,
He'll tell us
but I don't know if that works in here.
167. I'm sure he's looked at it, that's why we've got it.
Sure, yeah.
So he didn't have a problem.
Sure he's
If
aware
we
of
had a
it.
problem with it, we wouldn't have got it.
His cell phone is 6066, his extension is 167.
It's ringing through, but I don't know if he's there.
If he's there. See, that was in Ewell Township.
Yeah. This is right north where we did Hunger Canyons project.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that whole well through?
Yeah, Carl, this is Marty up the boardroom. We have a question on a plat. It's in lot 3. It's in Ewald, section 30 on the Barsby with the 2.8 acres on the well. And we're just questioning whether we can plat that off without it being 5 acres just for the well. If you could get back in touch with us, if you step in the office, just get back in touch with us and we'll go from there. Thank you. Bye.
Call your cell phone otherwise.
Yeah, we could do that. What's his cell number?
It is 830 6066.
What would that well be used for?
It's,
Livestock?
they said.
Rural water.
Rural, it's rural water.
I'm sure.
But if there's no building there, I mean, yeah, that's the kind of question I have. They're not gonna use it for, it's gotta be for livestock then, right? What else, what good would a well there be if you're not
That's
gonna
what
put a
I'm
building
wondering.
on
No, I think Marty's right. You can sell off an acre, but you can't build
The acreage shelf for me, they're selling off 2 acres.
a house.
it? With no building, no?
Nope.
What?
It's through a realtor.
So what you're saying, Marty, is you can sell off any amount, you just can't build on it unless it's 5 acres. Okay. Okay.
Unless it's egg.
Unless it's ag.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you sell off an acreage and it's got an existing house on it, they can, if that house burns down on a 2 acre parcel, you cannot rebuild that
Can't
house
rebuild on it.
unless you got 5 acres.
I don't know if that's right.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
That is true, because we looked at a property and we
Yeah.
didn't buy it because
Yep.
of that.
yep.
I own 3 acres on a house, and I understood that if I lost the house,
Here's
Carl,
Boy.
we need your
expertise.
intellectual property that you carry.
I just heard,
Round one there, through the grapevine.
yeah, the 5 acre thing really is for residential properties.
Mhm.
So this is fine.
It's okay as long as they don't build on it,
Right.
residential.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Because even for ag, you can go down smaller than 5.
Right.
The ordinance says you have 5 for residents.
Is this for rural water, is this what the deal is? or
Yeah,
not? Mhm.
that's what I understand. And even, we go down smaller when it's an existing acreage size, or an existing acreage, so,
What if there's not a house on that existing acreage? Can they build on it then?
yeah.
Even if it's under 5 acres?
Yeah, as long as it's an acreage site, so it's got the, the trees around it, maybe old buildings were there, or they don't even have the buildings, but as long as it was an old acreage site.
That's what I thought.
That's what I did.
Should have bought it.
Long time ago, long time ago.
That has been a change, though.
Yeah, it hasn't always been that way.
That hasn't always been that way.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't. Yeah.
So now you can, huh?
Yes, that's a change.
Yeah, I can't remember what year we changed that, but.
Yeah, my recollection coming back, because we went over all of that, and we changed that many years ago, so that.
And we wanted to encourage people to use those sites.
Use those rather than build them.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing your intellectual property, Carl.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion?
I'll move to approve all 3 plats.
Okay,
I think there's 4, isn't there?
There's 4. 4? Yeah. Yep. There's another one that's in Pleasant
Oh,
Valley.
it's on the backside here.
oh, it's on the one, yeah, it's the one in Wheatland, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, I was trying to.
Nope, that's
Yeah,
how to do it.
There's 2 in Wheatland, 30.
That's just fine.
Or Wheatland, 25, there's 2 of them.
For all 4 plants?
Yep.
Okay, I'll move to approve all the plats.
I'll second, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll second them.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the plats, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay.
Told you that'd be quick.
Okay. Is Pat coming over for the ambulance?
I think so.
So we're basically waiting for case management and the ambulance?
I got some additional information on that, but I'll wait till Pat's here, so.
Courthouse remodel, do you want to discuss that at this
Or we
point?
could,
Or
we could
should we-
discuss the ambulance grant thing, because that was more me wanting to ask you.
Okay,
Pat is eligible to receive around $30,000 through the emergency preparedness grant, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Emergency preparedness grant. And the thing is with that is you have to spend the money before you are reimbursed the money. So his question was, to me, could I spend that? And granted, he doesn't have $30,000 in like his equipment line or
Mhm.
anything. He does have it in his budget overall. And he wanted to know if he would be able to use that money and then get reimbursed from the grant. And, I talked a little bit about that last week, and then we decided to make it an agenda item. So that was my question, technically he could, it's in his department budget, but, I'd hate, we'd have to do a budget amendment,
in order to do that.
yeah, in order to capture the revenue and the expense.
What time frame are we looking at?
I was saying sometime in December he'd have to get going on it.
Okay.
And of course, we wouldn't have time at this point to do it, another budget amendment in December, so wanted to know what your guys' thoughts are.
I'm okay with it, provided we have assurances, probably through Sarah. I'd like to
Okay.
hear it from Sarah,
Okay.
that we're gonna receive our funding within the same budget year.
Okay.
So, as long as we purchase them in December, during fiscal year 16, and then we'll receive the $30,000 reimbursement in the same fiscal year 16, then I don't have a problem with it.
And what's the purchase of this? I think it.
The
Defibrillators.
defibrillators,
Yeah.
yep, yep, and I think he was still gonna consider a monitor as well, but, as far as I know, it was a defib. Or
Yeah,
several defibs.
that's kind of what he said to
Yeah.
me, so.
If I remember right there.
Yeah, I agree, as long as it stays the same
And I
budget.
think that's why he wanted to get going on it, because otherwise if you wait until like March, you might not get it until.
Yeah.
Next fiscal year.
Yeah, and a lot of those EMPG grants are that way, where you gotta spend it first and then they reimburse it. But still gotta be a qualifying item, and I just wanna have Sarah
Confirm that.
confirm that it is, and then when we would receive the payment.
And he's got the flexibility in his budget, so he's not asking to borrow any money. He's just gonna rearrange things until this money gets back.
Correct. That's my understanding. The line item we were looking at was his motor vehicle line, which is quite large.
Yeah.
Right,
And of course, we don't usually do that transfer until the end of the fiscal year, so.
right,
There's, that would be the
Some
cushion.
Right.
Until
flexibility
he
there.
got that money back.
right. So I'm good with that way. You don't need a motion or anything to that effect, though, do you?
Probably not, he real,
You just
technically, he
needed some
probably could have
guidance.
done it, but I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that you guys were,
On board with
we were
it.
on, because when we do a budget
Yeah.
amendment, it
Right.
would have got brought up then. so.
And I know you'll document it well, that this is, you know, an exception to the rule as far as moving money around.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Let's document it in the minutes even without a motion,
Good
just as a
order.
matter of public record or our own
Okay.
record.
yeah,
In order to receive the grant funding.
right.
Something to go back on.
Perfect. Not sure what's going on with everybody today. Would you like me to give Pat?
You know what, we can do
just-
we can do the manure
Yeah.
management plan. We've got one manure management plan
I'll
here
go
today.
get them called while you guys do that.
Okay. We've got one manure management plan. It's for Kennebec Farms in Section 13 of Roselle Township. I'll just pass it around. Basically, what they're not doing, it's an existing building site, and what they're doing is they're expanding the number of pigs in it from 1,600 to 1,866. And so they're just increasing animal units. And so they have to update their manure management plan on that, but that's what that one's about.
You guys want to see it?
Yeah, just go down
Yeah.
to 14.
Go down to 14. You wanna do some- We could do a committee with
Yeah,
this,
we could
too.
start with committee.
Oh, you can do the resignation too, can't
Yeah, we could do.
Yeah.
It kind of is what it is, except she'll need to record accepting it.
Yeah. We'll just go to committee reports. Neil, you want to start off?
Sure.
Do that, fill in.
Okay. Just want to start with follow-up on group services. We had sent them a number of questions, and they'd responded to them. And did you all get a copy of that? Okay. Was there any additional questions or anything that any of you had for them? They are planning on having future meetings, which I plan on attending. They did call me to make sure that I got this. He thanked me for sharing it with the rest of the board, and I also asked a little bit about Dickinson County, how the situation was going there, and he said it's moving forward, you know, and nothing is happening real fast, but that's good. It's more of a methodical movement. Mark and I had a case management advisory board meeting on Monday, and I can't think of anything that we covered that he didn't cover in our meeting here. Maybe Mark does, but it was basically sharing of the board, things that he shared with us at the advisory board meeting. They went over the caseload and then that type of thing. But there'll be some additional things come up on that when they're here, that in addition to the meeting. But the meeting, I really had new information. Maybe it did. And then the Rolling Hills has an advisory board that meets quarterly, I think, maybe monthly. I'm not on that board, but I request and do get a copy of their minutes. Just some interesting things that I gleaned from those minutes, since it does involve me or us as members of Rolling Hills. They talked about 5-star quality outcomes, and it's kind of a program that they have. And what it does is, the more integrated the clients are into the community, the more stars they get. And when they're fully integrated, they get the 5-star quality thing. They're going to have training on that. They talked about different outcomes and training for some of the clients. And the issue of low salaries for line staff was brought up. And this had to do with New Hope Village and whether or not the region could possibly help with raising the pay. And Rhonda Mart was there, and she was in favor of the region helping to affect wages. However, it could take a lot of money. So, the bottom line is, Rhonda Martin wants to know if the region can help pay for some New Hope employees' wages that maybe don't get a lot of money. And this is the first I've heard about that, but I just thought I'd pass that tidbit of information on to you. It was not visited or talked about at the Rolling Hills meeting, which was actually before this. Okay, and then also they had some MCO discussion about case management. And the two things I want to mention there is Woodbury County is ending services on December 31st. And Decatur County is also ending services, so.
And Woodbury is also, huh?
Woodbury, December 31st is done. That was the first I heard of that.
It's a big county.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Then, Mark and I had met with Angela and Justin this week, and it has to do with the resignation. And I don't know, maybe we should have this discussion after, when Justin and Angela are here, but basically, we have got a resignation here that you're well aware of, we need to accept. And they were trying to brainstorm, trying to think of how to keep the operation going the best they possibly could, and until they find out how this is all gonna work out with the MCOs. They had some possibilities of increasing the workload on Gene Coates, and there's where Mark and I had a little difference with them. But we're just in the discussion stages. I don't know, what else do you want to say about that, Mark? Anything?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, but anyhow, we're trying to rearrange things to keep the operation going as good as possible, and it will involve some adjustment of work responsibilities. And that's about it. I'll state that the Second Judicial District is now having the CEO evaluation, which I'm going to compile and report back those. It's just an annual thing with our CEO, Amanda Milligan. And last but not least, I don't know why, I had a lot of calls about the casino and what is the situation with the money there and how that gets distributed. And what I did find out, here it is. Nobody knows how much money we're gonna get. They probably won't know until March. The Grow Green County, of course, is they hold the license for the casino, and they're gonna get about 20% of their income is gonna be distributed to the 6 contiguous counties, which Carroll County is one. I'm not sure how that's gonna get distributed. Is it gonna be per 1/6 or by population or what? The money that Carroll County will get goes to the Community Foundation of Carroll County, which is a board that is formed, and they have a board of directors, and they are Nick Bading, Eric New, Kenny Snyder, Mary Bruner, Bill Prebeck, Jim Gredeman, Charlie Nixon, Craig Mertz, and Karen Keenest. So we will get some money. I'm not sure when, probably March. Not sure how much or how it's going to be distributed.
We might a copy of that and go with the
Yeah.
other part of it we got.
Me too.
That's just off of the website for the Community Foundation
Oh,
of
okay,
Carroll.
I can go off
Yeah,
website then,
I can
thanks.
go.
I went to
Website,
that
too.
meeting, if I recall correctly, they're talking the 1st of March, and they're looking, I think, if I recall correctly, it's around $40,000 that Carroll County would get out of that.
Did they mention how the cut was gonna happen between the 6 counties? Is it based 1/6 or by population or what?
But 1/6.
1/6?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well,
It's split 6 ways.
I know it's split 6 ways, but I didn't know if it was 15% of the, or what. Okay. But anyhow, I don't know why, but I just had a lot of questions from people.
You know why the questions are coming up now all of a sudden?
I don't know. I don't know why.
I mean, that's been over a month ago I talked about it, because I went to that meeting over there.
So anyhow, I thought maybe you haven't gotten those questions, but I thought I'd share what I learned in case you do. Anybody want a copy of this or else?
No, I would just get it
I'll
on the
just go,
website.
yeah, I'll go to the
Community
website.
Foundation of Carroll
GrowGreenCounty.com.
Yeah.
And our Grow Green County is also another website that has the board members. The one thing there is a member of that board I do know, it's Bill Rainey's wife, and
Mhm.
she's a secretary and very active on that, and she could perhaps fill in a few blanks if it made a difference. Okay.
Peg Rainey's on that board, and then also there's an EC from Grand Junction that's on that board also.
Yeah, I didn't print that off, but all the board members have their contacts on the Grow Green County website.
Yeah.
Okay, that was some of my activities of the week.
Is Pat still out there?
He was, but,
Snuck out on us.
yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Neil. We'll go to Gene.
Well, I don't have that much.
Okay.
Actually, Tuesday, we had CADC, and then Region 12 was there to do a setup of their CEDS process for the region. So they went through your strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats analysis, and did that through that meeting, and so we answered questions on that. They're going around each county and doing that, and then they're putting it together, and that's for Western Iowa Advantage, so that was the only thing I had this week, so but that took up that whole meeting that day.
Okay. Thanks, Gene. Dean? You wanna-
I had the Conservation Board meeting on Monday night. Dick Hart accepted the $40 an acre lease agreement. There was just a vehicle update on the vehicle that they were replacing. I guess there's a federal pool or something like that they have to go through. They actually won't get the vehicle until January. Which I didn't realize that
Or
would take that long.
Been it through a federal pool?
Yeah, it must be a federal pool, but they're actually bidding it locally, but it goes through some kind of, it goes through a federal pool that, anyway, they don't actually get the vehicle until January. Do you know anything about that, Mark?
That didn't ring any bells to me.
Anyway, there was some concern about the fact that it wasn't gonna be available until January, so. The trail paving project is, I drove around there last night, and I think on the north end is completely done as far as the shoulders, and except, they got the south side yet to do. They were talked about problems of the asphalt that you had a concern about. And it was basically the approaches, how they widen out. So the machine, they just went up two, and then they dug up all the other, they got a big pile out of it there, and how are you supposed to get rid of that? So, there were walnut tracks, deer tracks, turkey tracks, cat tracks. They were hoping for a bobcat track, but they didn't.
Haven't found it yet.
There's domestic cat tracks, though.
Domestic cat tracks.
That could have been arranged if they just let me know.
I bet it's that yellow cat that was out there last night.
Yeah, that yellow cat. And we
Bike track.
kind of talked about the septic tank on Bill's house. They're doing a lot, I guess, they're doing a lot of work on all the houses. I know John Danner, they redid an entry door, recited the garage, entry door in the garage, and recited the garage, and they're going to do the house next summer. And they did some, let's see, and they'll be going down to the Tigas house this winter and do winter work down there on the inside. They did talk about re-roofing the Tigas house. They're getting some quotes on that, to put a new roof on it. They have their new policy manual for their law enforcement policy manual. And as far as the property up at Lanesboro, there was no hands raised there. I guess it brought $18.75 an acre. So that was pretty much my week.
I brought 1875.
1875 and 8.
Is that the part on the south side of the road?
Right.
Yes.
Mhm. I'm not sure what the 40 bought, I didn't
Right,
hear
been a
that.
little better than that, I think.
I'm sure it
on our
did.
side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, that was my week. I did quite a bit of driving with Dave on Friday, basically checking out phone calls, and there's some ditches that need to be cleaned up in the Breda area. We looked at the water problem, water issue north of Maple River, and we're still gonna do some more investigating, I guess, into that. So that was my week.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Should we go ahead and, we'll go with Pat on the ambulance part-time wage discussion, Pat?
Morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat.
Late, I had a few Monday morning issues I had to take care of. From last week, I did a little, what I think you guys wanted. Give a comparison from last year to this year, from July 1st to September 30th. Last year overtime was $8,957. And this year it's $20,000.
Okay, hold on, just say that again. So current year-to-date overtime,
Last year
last year,
was $8,957.
89.57.
And this year is $20,254.
20,254 hours.
Dollars.
Oh, dollars.
Those are in dollars amounts.
Dollars of
Yes.
overtime. And that's fiscal year, Pat, or calendar year, Pat?
Fiscal. Goes
Okay.
from 7/1 to 9/30.
So fiscal year 15, I'm sorry, fiscal year 14 was 89.57, and fiscal year 15 year-to-date,
20,254.
and we're not even halfway through.
Well, this is only the first 3 months.
I'm confused because we're in fiscal 16.
16.
Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
So are we off?
Yeah, I did that.
It'd be
too.
15 and 16.
Okay,
15 and
okay.
16.
Yeah, I
just
did
wanted to
that
get it
too.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just want to clarify one thing, this 89.57, was that for the entire year or just the equivalent of,
Just the equivalent.
this the
Okay.
equivalent
Oh,
of?
okay,
of
so
this-
Just from 7/1
Up to this
7/1
point
to
last year.
9/30.
An equal comparison.
And I'm glad
Okay.
you asked that, because I was, okay,
Yeah, this is an equal comparison.
first 3 months.
Correct.
So that's a big difference.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's a
But
huge
it is a lot more still.
Mhm.
It's a double.
Yeah. And I figured, yeah, for an estimated savings, I calculated with what we've had this year, if you project that into a full year, you're looking at about $81,000 worth of overtime if we continue the way we are. If we get enough part-timers to pick up the slack, it's just about a $30,000 difference. But you figure there's gonna be some overtime in there that you can't.
Sure, we're not gonna eliminate overtime, I
Right.
understand that.
So I figured at a minimum of $10,000 that you're gonna have of overtime anyway. So my estimate would be somewhere around a $20,000 savings.
And that's per year?
Mhm.
That's above and beyond the additional part-time help?
What do you mean?
The addition of the, if you raise the wages on,
Right.
that's above and beyond that. okay.
And it does its job by backfilling enough of those hours, then it would equate into, because you'd be paying it out at 17.45 rather than 25 something,
28 something.
28 something.
Mhm. And it would also eliminate a lot of the fatigue on full-time people because they'd be working a lot less hours. Does that answer the questions that you had?
Pretty significant difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, that, I think, is the information we're asking for, Pat.
Okay.
And we appreciate you bringing it to us.
We had,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was just gonna say, I spoke to Ken Belt, who is the acting union steward the past couple of years. And he shed a little bit of light on this too, that I think the board needs to be made aware of. First of all, he was unable to get his team together in terms of having a meeting, but he thought he could make that happen as early as this week sometime.
Usually I think they're gonna have one tomorrow.
Okay, so if you really wanted, something in writing, and he wasn't sure whether he could get that done or not get it done. And again, I don't think we have to make a decision based on that precedent, whether or not they support it or don't. It would have been nice to have, certainly that it's not gonna impact future negotiations. Because again, just to reiterate what I said last week, I mean, I can just see it happening. They're saying, well, heck, you're paying our full-time, your part-time, the same thing you are your full-timers. And I just didn't want to have anybody to have issue with that. But what Ken brought up, something that I had asked a couple of weeks, or well, a month back when we had our board meeting, how it's going to impact the current union language, because, and I wasn't aware that oftentimes the service has offered part-time paramedics regular part-time, and then they use that as kind of a springboard to get hired on permanently. And that's been in the past. And he goes, what are you going to do during the probationary period? Because current contract language, as it's long been, is they're paid 90% and then 95%. So they're actually going to have to take a cut in pay if asked on permanently. And he said, how would you handle that? And I said, you would have to honor it, because that's going to be, they would have to take on the position knowing they're going to take a year's cut in pay.
Is that a union issue, or is that at my discretion?
It's a union issue. It's in union language. And it's a probationary period where they're paid, they go to 90% for the first 6 months, and then they go to 95% for the second 6 months. So I guess, if we do this, then it would have to be understood that, all right, you're gonna be at the 1745 as long as you remain part-time.
Part-time.
And then would that act as a hindrance to someone who really wanted to go on full-time, something that we wanted to go full-time, and you can't just pick and choose. I mean, it's either in the agreement or it isn't. And it's long been in the agreement that it's a stair step, similar to how it is in other union agreements too. So they'd have to take it on the chin for a year.
That's true.
And I brought that up at the last meeting, but I never knew that ended up, because they actually used it as a springboard to get on hired full-time.
I guess I never realized it was in the contract. I was assuming that if somebody had been part-time long enough, for several years, that knows the system, that's been a regular part of the employment, that they would stay at that wage, and their new hire would just, their big thing would be they get the benefits. I guess I never thought about going.
Pay.
Mhm.
One other thing that I want you to consider too is, according to Ken, the part-time wages that you did the comparison with, he said that a lot of those, and I went to the IPERB to confirm this, he said that they peel back the pay for what's non-call hours. So in other words, if they're on for 24 hours, a lot of these counties pay 16 hours at the full rate, but then they pay 8 hours as a call rate.
On call.
So they're not at the full rate like Carroll County is. Carroll County pays 100% whether they're on, they're on duty, but whether they're on the job, so to speak, not sleeping or idle or whatever, we pay 100% for the full 24 hours. He said most of these counties, one of which he even works for part-time, he says they pay 18 hours full wage and then 6 hours at a on-call rate.
Kind of like
So-
we do the full-time.
Correct. So he said that that's not 100%, depictive of what's going on with the other.
So it's not apples to apples, right?
It's not exactly apples to apples. And he said, according to the IPERB, and I went and looked it up, he said anything that is 5 hours idle time, they call it sleep time, they may or may not be sleeping, but if there's anything non-billed within a 5-hour stretch, then that's considered call time.
Is that after a certain time? Because I know one of the counties, if they, from, I don't know what the hours are, sometime in the evening to sometime in the morning, if there's not a continuous 5-hour stretch with no calls, then they go to the call rate. But if there is an interruption in that 5 hours, then the whole 24 is.
Correct, that's what he said. So it's got to be 5 hours in a row.
Yeah.
Not 3 here and 2 here. But I wanted the board to be made aware of that.
I guess
too.
another way you could do it is the same way you do the full-time, that is at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they go to call. And then that last 3 or 4 hours is a call pay. Instead of duty pay, they do that to reduce their overtime that's built in. We could do that too.
You fully report to payroll, so they don't have to do that math, right?
Right.
This,
Unless you want to.
I didn't have any idea how to begin.
Pretty complex.
It is complex.
Very much.
Is it clear that the probation period begins with full-time employment and is not used or earned as a part-time employee?
That's the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't
So-
bring the union agreement, but I looked it up. I knew it was 90%, 95,
So
but I wanted to look
working-
exactly how the language. So they've got to be deemed full-time employees,
Yeah.
not permanent part-time.
Right.
So working part-time several years would have no benefit as far as a probation period. Okay.
Well, if they work, 20, more than 20 hours, we've got one that's getting insurance right now.
Single policy.
That's part-time.
But that wouldn't count towards the probation period that the full-times need to go through?
Correct.
Okay.
Had to change that, you had to change the contract.
Right.
Mhm.
And I don't think we have much interest in doing that, because that's gonna open up
Yeah.
at least one other unit. Probably 2.
Pat, what's your level of confidence that you will actually be able to hire these people part-time if we do make this change?
I'm 90% confident I've got at least 2.
Okay.
2 beyond the 2 we have?
Yes.
That would be doubling it.
Yeah, that would help tremendously.
What is that on-call rate?
450.
Do you have full-time people that volunteer to do
450
overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're just
That's
on
why
call.
that's why the overtime's so high.
They're not, working
But I mean, they're
even
getting
there.
burned out then too.
Mhm.
But they probably won't admit that.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Oh, will they?
Yeah, yeah, especially the one that lives here in town, so he gets the majority of it. And I
And,
pick up some.
and Ken said, it's like anywhere else. Half of them want the overtime, half of them don't want the overtime.
Right.
I mean, it's, can't
So
satisfy
let me
everybody.
ask you another thing. Do they, the full-time ones that do that, do they take the money or do they set it in for comp time?
They've got, the ones that do it on a regular basis, they're limited to 72 hours comp time, then everything's paid after
Okay,
that.
good.
They keep 72 hours banked.
Because we don't want to get this towards a big liability.
That's-
If you keep piling up comp time,
No,
it gets to be a
uh-uh.
liability.
Mhm. It stops at 72 and everything after that's paid.
And
I guess the bottom line I feel here is the money that we're spending on overtime.
Mhm.
This calculation that you did where you estimated $20,000 savings a year, was that worked with the 2 new employees, or would it take more than that to achieve that?
It'd take more than that to achieve it.
So if you're 90% sure that you can hire 2, but it would take more than 2
Mhm.
to achieve these savings,
Mhm.
how many people would it take to achieve these savings you estimated?
It depends on how available the 2 are that I'm looking at. We also have 2 more that are trying to finish up the paramedic class. If, when that becomes, when they're finished with that, then I'll have those 2 available too. And they're local, so that'll be 4. I think between, 4 more plus what we have now, I think that should probably fill it.
Okay, put a time value on this or a time on this. How long will it take you to get to the point where you have enough people hired that you'll be saving 20,000 a year? It's not gonna happen tomorrow.
No, I would hope within 6 months.
Okay. There's no guarantee that, okay.
No.
Your best guess, all right.
See, we've got 2 EMTs right now that are current employees,
Going through training.
currently employed, that are aim to get their paramedic status
Mhm.
Soon.
very soon.
Good. Okay, that looks good there.
And then I know there's 2 more people that are taking a paramedic class in Fort Dodge that have talked about wanting to work, well, actually 3. One of them's working part-time as an EMT, and he's a fireman in Fort Dodge, and when he gets through his paramedic, he wants to come back and work part-time for us too, because he's off several days in a row.
Mhm.
So the potential's out there.
Okay.
With this increase in overtime, there's also an increase in revenue, correct?
Mhm. Well, theoretically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yes
you're
or no,
gonna-
I mean, they're still gotta be scheduled, whether or not
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
yes or, they still gotta be scheduled, whether or not they're taking calls or not.
Mhm. Yeah,
We're not,
that's true.
we're not increasing crew availability, we're increasing paramedic availability.
Mhm. Friday I worked and.
Not like we're
there wasn't
adding
any
crew.
calls.
You know,
Yeah, Friday, there was no calls at 12 hours that I worked duty on Friday. Had that been somebody that we're paying, no, you're not bringing any extra revenue on that.
So that's kind of,
Yeah. It's just number of hours that have to be filled, it's just not who we're filling them by as to how much it's costing.
Well, there's no guarantee here, but
Right.
there's, looks like it's probably in our best interest to go ahead with this request.
my concern still remains within that 90% thing. I would just suggest that perhaps we increase it, but perhaps increase it only to the 90%. That would be my suggestion.
What would that translate to?
Well,
as
because,
opposed-
because
I
then,
mean,
because then if, it will still attract more people, we would hope, because it's far and above more than what we're currently paying. And then secondarily, they wouldn't get dinged if they want to move into a full-time slot.
So instead of $2.78 an hour, would that be $2.50 or $2 an hour? Do you want to know?
What's that?
Can you relate that to $2.78 per hour, what that would be?
278 per hour.
See, he's proposing $2.78 and you're proposing 90%. What's the correlation?
90% of the 1745 would
Courtney's
be
working on it.
1687.
90% of that is 15 something, 1540.
I just want to know what the $2.78 would change to keep it at 90% mark.
Dollar, oh, not even a dollar, 97 cents. Right.
I was using that one, sorry.
Wow.
See, I'm not considering the 278 because that's not in actuality what's being paid out there, because you got 6 hours being paid at call time
Okay.
in actuality.
So right now they're making.
Yeah, you're better off going, like, say, 90% of the,
$2.20.
So you'd propose to drop the 278 and then change it to 90%?
Correct. I would just, offer
Okay.
90%.
Or there's another way, you just present it to the people that if you go full-time, you have to take this cutback. You get your benefits, but you have to take the 90%. Because some of them will never go full-time.
Yeah, that's assuming everybody's gonna go full-time
Right.
at some point.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't realize that it was really acted like, as Kent put it, a foot in the door. So.
For some.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I assume, there's some people that just wouldn't have any interest in
Right.
doing, but they'd have a great interest in backfilling at a better wage.
Right, because most of these people have full-time jobs already.
I just wouldn't want it to be a detriment to those who do. And then, again, I don't want it to be a starter for next round of negotiations.
But they are getting other benefits other than the increase in the wage
Mhm.
when they go full-time.
Yeah, but there, and that again takes a year to take effect, except for the insurance, they get the insurance right away, but their holidays, vacation, that all takes a year to go into effect.
Oh, just the insurance goes into effect immediately.
Right, right,
They should get holidays right
they should.
Mm-hmm,
away.
I think so.
Vacation.
And sick.
The sick
They
time,
were
yeah.
sick right away.
But, yeah, you're
Takes
right,
time to get
vacation.
through it.
So I came up with $15.71 as 90%.
Okay.
Which is $1.38 more
I just did it too.
My only concern there is that the surrounding areas are still offering up to $2 to $3 more than the 15.
Your concern is what now?
That the surrounding areas are still offering more for the part-time help. Because as I said, a big majority of them have full-time jobs elsewhere.
But at the same time, what he's saying, what Ken said, is that they're actually not always being paid the $15.71 that, or whatever the wages are. They're getting also some that's on call time.
The only one I'm aware of that does that is Sac City. I think, because Crawford County, they pay more at night. They pay basically a shift differential.
They pay that
According
whether
to-
whether they're actually on call or just setting out, or whether actually on duty or call. They pay that per hour.
That's the way I understand it.
He's with Guthrie, part-time with Guthrie, Sid Guthrie's that way.
Which one?
Where it's 18 and 6 hours.
Yeah, okay.
So there's for sure two. I'd like to hear what the union has to say. I mean, a week's not gonna kill us here.
And I guess I'd be okay.
I wanna make sure it doesn't impact.
I'd be
and
okay too
particularly-
with, like I said, doing it the way the full-timer schedule, or I don't know if it's 3 or 4 in the morning, they go on call. And then, that way they'd be the same as the full-time again. You pay the full-time wage until 3 o'clock, then they go on call for that last 3 hours, like the full-timers do. Then if they get called in, then they get, time and a half after that. Because that way you're comparing apples to apples, you treat them the same way full-timers getting paid. Because otherwise they would actually get paid more for a shift.
Right. 6 AM, right?
Is when they go off shift.
Right.
Yeah. I'd have to look at either 2 or 3 hours in the morning if they're on call.
So you have that currently in place? No,
For
for
full-time
full-time.
people. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because if not, then that's gonna eat into your savings.
Yeah.
It has to be. I just assumed it would be.
But I
And
think
I
it-
didn't figure that into this.
I think if you go over that 90%, you're gonna wind up having trouble with people moving over to full-time then. Because they're gonna take that ding.
Well, they're under the belief that you do it just for the sake of the increased benefits.
Benefits is typically 25% of the salary, so it's like
Yeah.
a 25% increase just on that.
So at this point, we want to wait till next week and see what the union has to say and go from there?
Certainly wouldn't hurt. I mean,
I'm all in
it's
favor of
gonna
that.
be another week.
I think it's good to get their take, but this is a management decision in the end, not theirs.
Correct.
I guess my final proposal would be to do the full wage at the 1741, and then put them on call at whatever time in the morning. Make it just like the full-time is. That would be what I'd like to see. So I think that's gonna draw the most people, because, a lot of times they work 12-hour shifts. So that's gonna, the 1741 obviously, or 45, whatever it is, obviously gonna draw more people than the 15. 78.
They currently don't work a lot of 24-hour shifts?
The ones that we have right now are,
Okay.
because they're more available, but a lot of the ones that I'm looking at, a lot of them will do, one might do the first half, one might do the second half.
That's what my question was, do you have a lot of people split shifts? See, that's where you're gonna run into trouble with that call then, probably.
Well, not necessarily, because they know, because, you got a better chance on the PM shift that you're gonna get some sleep. And if you don't, then you get compensated for it. That's the way the full-timers do it, because the full-timers, sometimes they'll split shifts too, and that's the way they get paid.
Well, I agree with though that we need to, I agree with what Neil says, they don't have a say in it, but I think it's good for us to get an input, feedback, and save any problems down the line.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
He said some of them weren't really even aware about it, that they had heard about it.
I've
but-
talked to the majority of them.
Yeah,
They're okay
so
with it.
he said they were gonna float it. I think that'd be a good idea. I think we'll do something, Pat, but I think sure like to hear back what they have to say.
Yeah, I don't want to cause any problems on that front either.
All right, you around Monday?
Next Monday.
Should be.
All right, one more time, Courtney?
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
All
Pat.
right, thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Jim.
Have a good week.
Pat.
Thanks for the extra legwork.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, with that, we'll drop.
See you tomorrow, too.
Drop
Board
down
meeting
to,
tomorrow.
yeah, drop down to case management. Justin and Angela? I guess we can start off with the resignation. We got a letter of resignation from Kelsey with regrets.
Yes. Yeah. Kelsey had resigned her position last week. Her last day is the 17th. She was actively recruited.
Actively recruited?
I think the biggest question we're getting asked, did she go to a managed care company? And no, she did not.
That would be an end.
I'll move we accept the resignation with regrets.
Got a motion on the floor to accept.
I'll second that motion.
Got a second? Any other discussion? No, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, now we'll drop down to the case management MCO discussion.
Okay, we had, I'll just start off with AmeriHealth. We had talked to them, you guys don't have anything in your packet for that. But AmeriHealth, we had, a month ago, talked about changing the contract for section 5.3. And if you guys don't remember what's in that, I brought some copies of this. This was one that the county attorney thought was something that we could take out, and then AmeriHealth had initially said that that would be just fine. When we submitted the contract that was signed last week, their legal team looked at it and said that they did not want to have us strike out 5.3 anymore, that the state had reviewed that and had approved it so that it needed to stay in there. So I guess we'll just need a decision on if you guys are okay with moving along with the contract with that section 5.3 in there as written.
John Worden's concern was agreeing to this would increase the liability above current protection. And he wanted to change his, to provide it by law is what he wanted to have changed.
As far as I know, nobody else has requested that contracts be changed. Not that that makes a difference or anything, but as far as I know, nobody else has requested this besides us.
On the other side, 5.3 is reciprocal in a way, is that although we're agreeing to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless them, they're doing the same to us, so it is a reciprocal agreement. So, they're actually increasing their liability to us at the same time as well.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of ambiguous, but.
So I'm, appreciate John's picking that up, and John's way would have been preferable, I think.
And we tried it, and, after their legal team looked at it, they felt that the original writing should stay in there, so.
But I don't think it should be a deal breaker on this contract either.
No, I'd
No.
document it like you normally do and move on.
So do we need to sign a new contract, or just put this back to the way it originally was?
Being it's in our minutes that we said to strike it out, and now we're putting it back in, I think that should be included in our minutes.
Well, it was done by motion. I will make a motion that we approve the inclusion of 5.3 in the contract. That'll cover it.
Yeah,
So that's my motion.
yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to put 5.3 back in the contract. Any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Do we need to have it re-signed then, or is the one we signed good then? That's okay?
I would think it'd be okay.
That should
Yeah.
be okay as long as you
Yeah.
got it in the
Again,
minutes.
you got it documented too, so.
Yeah.
It'll be in the minutes that it's put in,
Okay.
reinstated.
And then as far as AmeriGroup, Neil had a question about that last time we met, about them not wanting to sign a contract with us. And we got further documentation on that all of the managed care organizations are required to pay us whether we have a contract or not. The catch with that is if we don't have a contract, they're only gonna pay us at 90% of the rate that we have set. So that pretty much would just apply to AmeriGroup, since they're not giving us a contract at this time. If we provided any case management services for clients under that MCO, then we would get paid at 90% rather than our rate, regular rate.
And I think that's what you said last week. I'm sure they know that. You know, and that's
Oh,
why-
yeah,
that's why
absolutely. They're
moving
saving
forward.
10%.
Right. So the question is do we do it that way or just not include them?
I would say that for us, 90% is 90% better than 0%.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Well, but isn't that kind of a kick in the teeth to AmeriHealth Caritas?
Yes,
In
it
the
is.
end, it would help our clients with the transition. I mean, if we get, I don't anticipate that there will be a ton of them on AmeriGroup, but if there are, then we can at least continue with them on the transition, and maybe some of them don't realize what is actually happening, so.
Are you saying that, and that's a 6-month extension only?
Right, correct,
Yeah.
for AmeriGroup.
Yeah, beginning July 1st, then if AmeriGroup would have the capacity to take members at that time, they can, as of July 1st. But otherwise, there is supposed to be a 6-month transition. So that would allow AmeriGroup time to establish their,
Case management personnel,
correct.
because after July, they don't plan to use your case management, right? Right.
Only if they have to, if they don't have
Okay.
the case managers in place to do that.
So again, then what happens beyond 6 months?
Then
They've got a contract, don't they?
if they-
Yes, because that time period
Yes.
was only 6 months. They only will pay us at 90% for 6 months. After July, then there's no writing in there that says they have to do anything. So after that time, we would need a contract.
It would be my intention then, that again, that's duly noted as well, that
Right.
if we're gonna accept 90% of payment, that would be for a period of 6 months only.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. We need something in writing that it's 6 months and 6 months only.
Anything beyond that would require a contract and payment of full rate. Puts the onus on them, not us.
Mhm.
Anybody disagree? Neil, what do you think?
Well, what we document. They don't care what we put in our minutes.
I understand that. We do.
I know.
But for us, that's direction for us then, that after 6 months,
So-
it's either this or that.
Yep.
So-
It's a recourse.
So then after 6 months, we would know we're done unless we get a contract.
And once again, our consumers, the people we're trying to serve, we're here trying to help them out, which is why we're doing it at a discount. But they would certainly need to be made aware of that there is another provider out there that we are contracted with.
Right. And like we kind of discussed.
That's
we
where
would-
I'm headed with that.
Yeah, we would start that right away in January, just because we would want to start the discharge process and the transition.
Correct.
And the
So-
education of
Right.
what's next. I mean, that's all part of that discharge planning.
Yeah, I think your discharge planning is going to be very helpful.
And then well care, John's reviewing that one, so we're waiting. Once he's done with that one, we can get any comments he has on the well care contract, which is one we looked at last week. Then we can proceed on that one. The one that was included today was United Healthcare, and we were able to look at the contract and look at the provider manual, and found that a lot of it really doesn't pertain directly to case management. Potentially that could be because they don't plan to use us past 6 months, but there really wasn't a lot of relevant information. A lot of it was based mostly on like strictly medical practices, so, but nothing in there that would be a problem for us for 6 months.
I was a little surprised that it was entitled long-term contract.
Right.
I don't see 6 months as being very long-term, but.
Well, again, when you read through the manual, the LTSS or long-term support services, that grouping is very minimal in the manual. It's definitely geared towards more of your medical professionals as providers.
Well, our contract may be good for a year at a time. We're not gonna have compliance with them potentially after July anyway, so.
Right.
Do they also, they gotta pay you the full rate in that
Yes,
6 months?
yes. Once we get the contract done and signed, then they pay us the full rate. And once again, that's the rate that we had established as of July 1st. Did you guys have any questions on that one?
So it was good for 1 year, 6.1. And Appendix 2, it specifically says what it will cover, and I think you're all right, that Iowa Medicaid and CHIP and all that, and there's no issues with that, is there?
No.
They had quite a length of things that they do not cover. Was there anything in there that was an issue?
No, just that stuff is I believe, some of the programs that aren't gonna be under managed care. So
Yeah.
there are some programs that are just gonna kinda stay under Medicaid as it is now.
Okay.
So, yeah, nothing in there was any concern to us. And then, I emailed a copy of that to John this morning. I was waiting on, United Healthcare to send an email copy, so I didn't blow up his email like I did Courtney's, sorry. Cause they just sent a paper copy, and I had to scan that in. They actually sent an actual email copy.
I didn't send it to the board because I thought I might do the same.
Yeah,
thing.
Or 40,000
I
euros.
broke her email.
We'll find out.
Okay. And on this provider application, is there anything in addition to case management that you'll be checking?
No,
Okay.
no, just case management, and we would go through the different waivers similarly to what we did with the other ones, and select the waivers that we think we can provide for, and the coverage area that we think we can provide for.
And our insurance carries good with what you're going to be doing here?
Yeah, I actually saw the limits, because United Health was the only one that had limits in here, what you had to have at least, it was like $300,000, and we're fine with that. So hopefully, in the next week or two, we'll be able to come back then and have John's opinion on the well care contract, and then hopefully a few weeks after that have his opinions on the United Healthcare one. And then, once those are signed, we're pretty much ready to go with January 1st.
Coming faster than we know it.
Oh, I know, it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. Any questions on any of that?
Your open house again is November?
December 3rd and 4th.
December 3rd and 4th.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, those meetings are going on in November, though. aren't they?
Correct, yeah.
And Will Care is gonna use our case management?
Yes, WellCare is, yeah. WellCare and AmeriHealth plan to use us long-term. Actual long-term, like past 6 months, past a year.
No other questions? Thanks.
I'm thinking ahead, not to create more problems, but how in the world are these two gonna try and, or these one, try and budget for fiscal year 17?
It's gonna be very difficult.
It's called a swag.
That's why it's called a budget.
Scientific wild ass guess.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, you're gonna have to discuss.
We're probably gonna have to do an amendment, I would almost guarantee. You know, we'll, the best we can do is probably guess that we'll have another case manager that we can hire in the future to get back to where we were at and go from there. I believe each MCO will have their rates set up for the next fiscal year. So hopefully we'll be able to find those out, well, I don't know when, because they were kind of slow on these, so.
When do you think you'll have it shook out that you'll know what you're gonna have for case management?
February, March,
Of this next year?
yeah.
Yeah, after it's in the can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean,
That's my point.
January.
Well, and I was thinking, you know, this thing could go on even longer, that thing's moving.
Well, it could go on until July 1st or June 30th,
Because
before it's official.
we'll have a pretty good idea on our
Then you can still
caseload
have movement.
in January.
Some.
But it's then, you know, with other case, with other case management agencies closing, we wouldn't get those people right away January 1st. They would need to be referred to us. So, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of time. And
I think we'll have a really good idea where we're at though, January 1st. We'll have some referrals back and forth, that type of thing, but I think we'll have a pretty good idea at that time.
You'll have a preview
So what you're
anyway.
saying is we should wait with your budget till the last minute?
yeah, probably.
Which is essentially the third week in January, pretty much. I mean, maybe the fourth week, but
The only good thing is now that they're in Fund 6, it's through general basic, and we max that levy rate out anyway. So it's not gonna affect the
That's
levy
true.
rate. It's just gonna be a matter of how much his department's asking for.
yeah, the actual tax asking is what
Right.
we're gonna be just
That is a good point.
shooting at.
And in the past couple of years with the direct versus indirect, we were able to kind of have a decent estimate of how much, you know, of the taxpayers' money would go towards our program. With this one, it's gonna be, it might be kind of, hopefully none. Hopefully we'll get reimbursed for everything. So that would be the goal too, but we won't know that until we get those rates for the next fiscal year. So that's kind of, there was a little bit of a wrench into it too.
A little bit.
It's gonna be a challenge.
It'll be interesting.
Any other questions or discussion? Thanks, Justin, Angela, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Hang in there, guys.
Okay, go down to the courthouse, or the courtroom discussion, remodel, or do you want to do canvas next?
It's up to you
Let's
guys.
do canvas and see if John shows up.
Okay.
should have 16 of tallies. We'll combine Carroll because of the absentees. Absentees are reported as a lump, so it's gonna be easier to report on, especially their results, because they have so many absentees. So I don't know if you wanna take a few and just dole them out. We'll read the results from the bottom line there, because that'll be the total with absentees, and then I will check them off on.
Just take 2 or 3 and.
I was gonna say, you guys know this process.
Here, let's just go like that.
On my
You
sheet here.
got 2 already?
I got 2.
I got one here for Lanesboro too, if somebody wants that one.
Short end of the stick.
You know how to work that, didn't you?
You're the dealer.
And I'll be
Yeah,
checking
you
them.
always- Playing cards. You always gotta watch the dealer when
Except
you're
you got a
playing
pretty good
cards.
hand.
I'll be
Which one?
checking them off on the official abstract that I'll be sending to the city, so.
You got 4 or 3?
3,
Okay.
and you got 2.
All right, we're serious now.
So if we kept them in somewhat alphabetical order, we could start with Arcadia.
I got Hilton, Manor.
Templeton, Breda, Arcadia.
Okay. So yeah, you should be able to just read the results off the bottom line there. You can read the
I got
candidate's
some of
name,
your
their
own done
total.
for me.
And you can read the scattering if you want. That's on my report, so I'll be able to check that too.
Why don't you do this one?
Okay.
That way I know.
Okay, City of Arcadia, total of 86 voters. For mayor, we had John Lichty with 76 and 8 write-ins. For councilman at large, we had a total of 64 for Joe Berg, 55 for Mary Jo Burning, 29 for Dwight Blummel, and that was a write-in. Leroy Schulte as a write-in was 21. Bruce Vanami, write-in for 19, and a total scattering of 24. So that shows the winner to be for mayor would be John Lichty with total 76 votes. And then the councilman at large, the 3 winners would be Joe Berg with 64, Mary Jo Burning with 55, and Dwight Blummel with 29.
Breda. Total number of votes cast were 48. 45 for Mike Schwabe
For mayor.
for mayor, and 1 scattering. For council, 38 for Brian Steinkamp, 43 for Dan Snyder, and 3 scattering. That leaves the winner, Mike Schwabe, with 45 votes. And for council, Brian Steinkamp with 38, and Dan Snyder with 43.
So lucky one that got the city of Carroll.
I do.
Okay, so if you want to just read the results, we'll just combine the wards, because that'll be the easiest with the absentees off the
Okay.
bottom there.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Carroll,
Okay.
City of Carroll. Number of voters, 1,808. For mayor, Eric Jensen, 1,489. Under write-in, Adam Swears had 97. There are 57 scatterings. Council person at large, Mike Curtis had 610. Brandon Vanami was the apparent winner with 1,152, and there are 3 scatterings. For councilperson second ward, Tom Tate had 187. Misty Bass is the apparent winner with 382, 2 scatterings. Councilperson fourth ward, Carolyn Seaman was the winner with 233 votes. Bard Toohey had 193, and there were no scatterings.
Perfect. The city of Coon Rapids.
City of Coon Rapids, total 167 voters. For mayor, David Moore, 49. Jeffrey Ontover, 116, 2 scatterings. For councilperson at large, John Ezador, 139. Chris Goodwin, 128, 1 scattering. For Thomas Resthaven trustee was Mike Davis, 144, and 2 scatterings. For the mayor was elected was Jeffrey Antover, and council was John Ezador, Chris Goodwin, and for trustee was Mike Davis.
City of Dedham?
City of Dedham, I have a total of 71 voters. For write-in for mayor is Russell Axman, 29. Chris Huffman, 24, and the scatterings were 14. For councilperson at large, 4-year term for 2. Bob Spoor had 31. Mike Heinrichs had 45. Rod Smith had 41 and 15 scatterings. So basically, Russ Axman for mayor with 29, and Mike Heinrichs with 45, and Rod Smith with 41 votes.
City of Glidden?
I have Glidden. Total of 56 votes. For mayor, Roger Hartwickson with 49, and there were 4 write-ins. For councilperson at large, elect 3. There were Pat Fay with 45 votes, Gary Schroer with 44 votes, Anthony Ball with 51 votes, and there were 10 write-ins. So the winners for mayor would be Roger Hartwickson, and for council at large would be Fay, Schroer, and Ball.
City of Halbert?
City of Hillsborough was 25 voters. For mayor, Randy Tulin, 22, and then 1 scattering. For councilperson at large, Kim Rizelman, 22, Jack Roder, 22, Dan Drake, write-in, 6, with 8 scatterings. Elected was Randy Tulin for mayor. Councilperson at large was Kim Rizelman, Jack Roder, and Dan Drake.
City of Lanesboro?
City of Lanesboro. For mayor, there was a total of 40 voters, 21 for Shirley Thompson for mayor, Edgar Hunt write-in 15, scatterings 3. For councilperson at large was J. Gordon Toyne, 24, Bob Baker write-in was 22, scatterings was 16. Elected for mayor was Shirley Thompson. Elected for councilperson was J. Gordon Toyne and Bob Baker.
City of Litterdale?
City of Litterdale had 59 voters. For mayor, Max Swink won with 47. There were 8 scatterings. For councilperson at large, there were 6 candidates vying for 2 positions. Terry Daniel received 5 votes. Melissa Sliceman was elected with 30 votes. Jerry Wiskus received 16 votes. Mike Skinner was elected with 36 votes. Raymond Walker received 9 votes. Shirley Canny received 17. And for councilperson at large to fill a vacancy, Anthony Ryan Monthey received 47 votes and there were 5 scatterings.
City of Manning?
City of Manning, I have. Total voters was 37. For mayor, Harvey Dales, 26. Write-ins or scatterings was 5. For councilperson at large, Cheryl Damon was 34. Josh Lindy was 30, and scatterings were 1. So for mayor, Harvey Dales, and for council, it was Cheryl Damon with 34 and Josh Lindy with 30.
City of Ralston?
I have Ralston. A total of 11 voters. For mayor, Chad Stevens got all 11 votes. For councilperson at large, Nick Stubbe with 11 votes and 0 write-ins. And then for councilman at large to fill a vacancy, we have Kurt Hike with all 11 votes. So elected were Stevens for mayor, Stubbe for 4-year councilman, and at large, Kurt Hike with 11.
City of Templeton?
I have Templeton, total of 41 votes. Kenneth Behrens for mayor was the winner with 38 votes. There were 2 scatterings. For council, David D. Ramsey was the winner with 37 votes. Joseph Earlbeck was the winner with 37 votes. Alex Shepner was a write-in with 16 votes, and there were 13 scatterings.
Really?
Willie had 43 voters. For mayor, John Guinan was elected with 33 votes. There were 7 scatterings. For councilperson at large, there were 6 candidates for 3 positions. Ryan Rath received 17 votes. Doug Reesberg was elected with 22 votes. Sue Rizelman was elected with 20 votes. Paul Tegas received 10 votes. Mark Schreck was elected with 36 votes. Brian Bauer received 13 votes, with all write-ins, 3 scatterings.
Perfect. All right, I have a lot of these that need to be signed, so.
They've had the most activity in there.
These-
Back in the box.
Yeah, please. So, these are the abstracts which need all of your signatures. And this form on the back side needs signatures, so I don't know if we need to approve the canvas and then we can sign this.
Before we sign?
Yeah. Be
Make a
good.
motion to approve the canvas.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the canvas. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
I just drew a blank. Who had the, you had the first?
Gene.
Mark had
And
the
Mark.
second.
Yep.
I will start with these, and go ahead and sign those. I don't want to get them mixed up, though. Should we just start with those and maybe go to this one here? That back sheet needs signatures.
Dean, you're holding us up.
Can we run this one this way?
Yeah, I'll hold on to the other copy, and Marty, I'll give you these. These are the certificates that everybody's gonna get.
Let's sign off.
I'm normally
Yeah,
the
on
one
the
that
top
holds it
there.
up.
Okay.
It'll take longer to sign than it did to read through the.
What is, this goes with that?
No, it goes with this. It's just, that there was so many things that I had to pages.
Just one signature on that.
Yep, that goes in the permanent record.
Let's keep things going clockwise then.
Rebecca, you getting all this?
Crap.
I got all but one.
Rebecca, hello, Rebecca.
My fingers don't stop moving for like an hour and a half. Do you want me to send you the official canvas? Yeah, I will. It'll be on our website too, but I can.
Couldn't wrap this paper up. Right.
You want this one on there?
I was on the trick or treating with Superman with the Halloween kids.
This is just one signature.
Yes. We're gonna note how your signature improves from the first to the last.
Or, yeah, or it gets worse.
It
Mine
gets worse. I should have brought my stamp in there.
Is that official for these stamp?
Oh, I have to put the stickers on.
No, I mean, if I had a stamp, would that work?
No,
These are still yet to be signed.
those are that's the other set.
Okay, new set.
Whoop, we got one that misses signature, didn't we, someplace? Oh, this is a new set?
The new set.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, okay, let's keep these separate.
Second set is what it is.
Where's Matt at today?
He had a couple things going on at Dean's veteran story and we're doing that, so he sent me this place.
So how did that go?
here you go, Dean.
I think he covered that. I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. I'm not quite sure. He would know better than me, but he was there for that.
Just kinda curious.
Yeah.
Hope you didn't think you were done.
Thought it was done.
Oh,
Oh, no?
Gotta have two sets.
Oh, really?
We keep one and we send one to the cities.
I've already, so it's.
Oh, okay.
That's- Yeah, I'll get it to him.
Yeah, you probably signed all these.
They've gone back to the old style of the election certificates.
Yeah, that's a form I print off I have other software, so, yeah. I think technically you can probably use anything you want as long as you have the seal and everything on there, but those are just easy because as soon as you put the results in, it prints them out, so you
I
can't
prefer
really
the
beat
one that
that.
requires just the chair to sign.
What's that?
Only on off years, I've had that.
So we're done.
Yes.
No, I'm just getting
Looks like we're
started.
missing some.
Marty didn't sign those, did he?
I haven't
No, but
signed any of
missed-
those yet. I'm doing all
missed
the
yours on that one.
certificates.
He's still doing stuff.
Marty's gonna have to stay
I
after.
don't know how.
I've stayed after school before.
Oh, I'll look them all over if I'm
Only on
missing
days that
somebody,
end in
so.
one
I spent so much time in the principal office, the other kids thought I was the assistant.
I still my kids, like, temporary teacher is lacking in the bugs. That's why I turned out the way I did.
Only happened to me once, but I really had it coming. It was worth it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
What'd you get out of?
I need Marty's on that.
class.
ISAC.
Yeah.
And,
Is that next week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Writing a note to one of my friends in Latin. And it obviously wasn't right because the punishment
Didn't get it?
Yeah, she got the note, she read the note. And if I would have had it, if that Latin was correct, the punishment would have been huge.
Oh.
So, obviously, she couldn't actually read it.
It wasn't
intended.
I'll never forget that.
I don't know.
Because I was looking for a
I couldn't
huge,
tell
huge punishment.
I would say yes. I would say yes.
There we get all the certificates done. Let's start on the good part. I guess while I'm doing this, should we just go down the courthouse remodeling project? I can kind of do this as we're going along.
Well, if you can.
I can juggle two balls.
Was John going to try to come or not?
When I just told him, I talked to John on Friday, I visited with him, and I said we needed quotes. Basically, I asked him as far as the funding, what was available for the courts, and he told me around $10,000. And when he talked to Courtney last time this went through, he said there was like $35,000 in capital account. And talking with Courtney on Friday, there's only about $15,000 in there. And the thing of it is last spring when we talked about this, is I went to John and I went to Eric New and asked Eric to get quotes. And no quotes were brought forth to us. And that's where the problem lies.
And my involvement was, I just went up there with you, well, I don't know if that was with you or.
Yeah, you and I went up together
Yeah,
and looked at it.
just to see what the project was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did not give any
Approval.
approval
Neither
of
did
any
I.
kind, I just wanted to see what.
And I made comment to John at that time, it's gotta go through the board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason for the quotes. So,
Well, and I think they've been talking about doing this for a couple of years.
At
Nothing's
least
ever been come up.
Since I was
yeah.
the chair 3 years ago.
yeah,
But he's never came forward on anything formally.
And I don't recall any of us having any hesitancy to do the project. I mean, I think as smaller district courts, if they come under pressure, we've got to make the upgrades up there just so we can retain it. I mean, I don't think anybody has any problem with it, but it was never budgeted for. And again, he's escaping the process as far as securing bids. And I'm sure John would probably say, well, he's not legally bound to get, bids on things, but it's just standard operating procedure here for the county.
Just a procedure.
And there's another problem. I don't think Courtney's been too much involved in this, and she's supposed to take care of the
Correct.
mhm.
I didn't know anything about it till they started painting.
Right.
Till I started,
They were painting.
painting.
And the painting bill is a minor bill, it's the other two bills that are the problem.
Well, we haven't gotten the actual painter's bill yet. She's been here for 2 weeks.
We just got the paint bill.
Paint, yeah.
is all
So
we
did
got.
they do any type of remodeling or anything up there, moving any walls or anything like that, putting any doors in or
Not
anything?
to my knowledge.
Uh-uh.
Because that one room was, gonna be,
Yeah, they
Right.
revamped that.
That, what I'll call the library, it's a
Yeah.
file room is about
Yeah.
what it is, but,
and they were gonna turn that into a courtroom.
yeah, and that was 2 years since I was
That's
up
one
there.
down towards that end of the hall.
To the
Right.
east, yeah.
Yep.
That's the auditor's job, is to remodel the courthouse. It's quite clear in the code that the auditor shall have general custody and control of the courthouse, subject to the direction of the board. So that's the correct procedure. And John is kind of presuming the position of the auditor in doing this, and it's not under the direction of the board very well either. So whether it's needed or not is one question. But the second thing I'm concerned is just the way that it's happening. It's not following code perhaps, and only one bid, that's not acceptable to me either. We require 2 bids on about everything.
Yeah, he should know.
Maybe it's not
a legal requirement, it's just a,
SOP.
it's just good business. And the carpet, all this is big enough jobs that a lot of people would have been interested in bidding on it.
Yeah, these are big numbers. A lot bigger than,
Well, and I looked at this over the weekend, and I have some issues. Why are we putting this columns and beams around the outside there? That's $4,000 almost. If that's right, assume it is out there beginning the hallway.
I didn't receive any instruction on that, I just received a copy of the bid via email.
I mean, I don't mind doing it right, but yet at the same time, we don't need a Taj Mahal. And maybe I might be wrong on this.
But you don't know because we haven't had any discussion about it.
No.
No.
And I'm just assuming from what I'm reading from the drawings here.
That's right. We're all in the same situation.
I mean, this picture doesn't do real justice as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
I guess the big issue here is just the funding. Where's the funding gonna come from?
well, and I think another issue is, we always, these type of projects get 2 quotes. And I don't know how much this they've been started on.
It's just the painting as far as I know, but it sounds like the carpet's in the works.
I'm sure the carpet's been ordered and probably ready to get waved in.
There's no money in the budget to pay for this. It would require an amendment to pay these bills.
But you had started to say that there was $10,000 like in the courts?
Yeah, John said he had $10,000 in his court budget that he could use to pay for it. That's what he told me on
Pay for
Friday.
some of it.
Mhm.
The only thing I can see is where John would have any authority is county attorney collection fund, which was $77,000 at the end of September anyhow.
Of which he was budgeting part of his expenditures out of already. He's already got most of that committed already.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that's committed, but at the end of September, that's the auditor balance on the county attorney fund was $77,000 because
In his comments on Friday, his thinking there's $35,000 in the capital fund is where he's thinking the rest is gonna come from. It's not there.
Well,
If we spend that, we won't have any left in that capital
Right.
fund.
so he's thinking 10 plus 35.
Yeah, and you're still gonna fall short.
Yeah. I told Courtney that from my recollections, which I'll admit is a little dim, I remember a number that was originally tossed around most recently was about $20,000 for improvements to the courthouse.
Well, and I think this thing kind of advanced a little further than anticipated, because I think originally they wanted to try to strip the floors up there in the hallways and some of the judge chambers and stuff, and that's when they decided to carpet more up there too. I think that got added on to it.
Projects generally grow,
Yeah.
but
Well, this
Not
spring when
more than double.
Marty and I went up there, I heard $30,000 and I heard it was approved.
No, nothing was approved at that point yet.
So, but that was probably from them.
we didn't have anything to approve. We had no numbers.
well,
That's where the quotes came in,
Right.
to get quotes.
simply stated, none of us has the authority to approve anything outside of the vote taken in this boardroom. So I think it's why we have the minutes as our official document that we're always try to be careful with. And you won't find anything in our minutes. For example, if a supervisor says, this is the world's best idea I've ever heard, I'm all in favor of it, that's not approval.
Still gotta go through 5 people.
That's not approval. And this adds up to $38,508 as well as stuff runs.
assuming the option for the metal door jambs, which is an additional 900, is not taken, that would be an additional 900.
No, that's not even the labor of paint yet, right?
Right?
Yeah, we haven't gotten, and we'll probably be getting a bill from Mindy Simons, who has consulted with this project. My concern was with the flooring bid, you know, I know they talked about the hallway, because there was rust stains on it from those cabinets. But we're doing the hallway, the JCO room, the jury room, the conference rooms, Judge Scheckman's office, existing courtroom. I'm not sure if they mean the one they're doing, because I would assume they'd want carpet in that. File room and.
Isn't that tile now?
Yeah. But there's,
But
they call it existing.
Isn't carpet gonna be harder to keep clean that in there than,
That might be why they're bidding tile.
oh, the other
This
bed
is
tile?
Yeah,
It's carpet tile, isn't it?
yeah.
So they can replace it? They can replace the tile sections.
Yeah.
If they
I
keep
know
that
they-
color and that
I know they
same thing,
talked
and,
about
you
it.
know.
Yeah, same
But I
lot
mean,
number.
even with that carpet tile, that's gonna be harder to clean it than versus a ceramic floor, isn't it? You know, under
The
those
big
benches and stuff.
courtroom is the marble floor, like where everything else is. I got an email from Eric New, and he's saying that the carpet install is scheduled to begin on Monday, the 16th of November. And somebody from Barrows is supposed to be contacting Zach, because he has to strip the floors. And nobody asked us. Zach doesn't have time to strip floors. He's one person doing a job of probably 1.5, so. I don't know. I'm not sure if that'll even work with his time frame.
Well, they obviously have the carpet purchased already, if they're gonna be putting it down in a week.
And you're right, there'll be a bill from Mindy Simon.
Yeah, and there'll probably be, this bid for the bench doesn't include any electrical. I'm sure they're gonna want plug-ins and things in that bench for a laptop or whatever. They'll be billed for the electrician too, I'm assuming.
Give it a couple grand there.
They also talked about, for security reasons, when they were talking about the
We
bench,
might be looking at 50,000.
of having a metal
Oh, it's at 45 now.
Like a front.
front or on the inside.
Huh?
I had these up at 38.5.
38.
I might have missed something.
I had 38.5 too.
Yeah.
But they also talked about having a piece of metal on the inside of the bench for security.
Yeah, we've talked in the past about having some security for the judge there. But we didn't approve anything.
Yeah, it's all been discussion.
So how do we go forward here?
You gonna talk to
I guess
John?
The only thing we can do is talk to John and see where the additional funding is coming from.
Well, and there's never been any formal approval.
Yeah, there's been no approval and concern about only one quote for these.
Suppose it's one of those things, we'll talk to John and maybe bring him in next Monday.
That's when that's supposed to begin.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should send John a notice that we've not approved any of this. And he just shouldn't dump the responsibility of this on the taxpayers or this board, having not followed the correct channels.
And/or bypass court.
That's the correct channel.
How did we?
The correct channel is the auditor, subject to the direction of the board, and neither of those have happened.
How did we even get these?
Eric emailed them to me.
Yeah, because I told John to send us some quotes for
Eric
Monday.
did?
And this is what we got.
And Eric isn't the elected official.
No.
He's not even a county employee.
Mm-mm.
They did come to me when I had them come in here. I mean, was that a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago? And talked about what they wanted to do. And I said, I don't have a problem with that. Meet with the board. I think you went up there with me and we kind of walked around a little bit.
Mhm.
And then supposed to get
Yeah,
the
there
dollar
was
amount.
a whole project, there was nothing.
Yeah, once again, I don't think there was any pushback on the project.
No.
I do seem to recall the number was approximately $20,000.
I think it was approximately March is when when Dean and I went up there and looked at it.
Yeah.
It's probably about the middle of March.
Because I was under the understanding they were just doing that room.
Mhm.
And then they talked about the hallway because of the rust on the floor, they couldn't get it
Right.
off.
Right.
But this seems like a lot more than
The
what I was
original
told to
plan.
begin with.
And, you know, I guess, you know, when we looked around up there, you know, it looked like there could have been some improvements made. I won't deny that throughout the area that I was showed. And as busy as they are up there, if they're gonna do it, they might as well
Do it
do the
right.
whole thing and as opposed to a couple years from now doing something else. But I guess that was my thought.
I don't know how
As far as the
ornate
interruption.
that it has to be as far as doing it right.
Yeah, right. I didn't think it was gonna be like this.
So I guess at this point, I'll get ahold of John and we'll have a discussion. And just talk about the correct channels and no approval.
Well, he needs to be aware of it, it's not been approved.
Yeah.
Certainly wasn't on any agenda in March.
No, and I've scoured the minutes and I found nothing. I think that was even an informal, when Eric came in here to speak. It was informal, I think it was either before or after a meeting.
Mhm.
And just said, you know, do one of you guys want to come up? And it was nothing formal.
It has nothing to do with a power trip, it's just about delineation of duties. I mean, it's simple, straightforward.
Well, there's an issue though of not having quotes. If they had quotes other than this one, then they should have showed it to us.
Yeah,
And maybe they did that,
Right.
but
Procedurally, I just don't see where anything has been followed here.
That's my issue.
But John also made the comment that they had quotes from like 2 years ago and those.
Well, they're obviously no good.
What happened to them? But
That's my
I'd still
question.
like to see them.
Yeah, you know, the thing of it is, you can still go back to like Barrels or wherever you got those quotes, and they should have copies of those quotes.
Barrel should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever they went to get those quotes, there's copies there.
They're only good for 30 days. I don't know how long they keep them. I
Yeah.
mean, they're usually good for,
Yeah.
they haven't cut.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the project changed.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Scope.
started here.
Yeah.
We got bids to fix downstairs where the water goes in,
Mhm.
the concrete work, and the guy didn't get to it. Well, guess what? We gotta get a new bid because it's
Yeah.
over a year old,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
'Cause we have the old one, but
We
it's
can't
not
hold
any
him to
good.
it?
No, I think it said something like 30 days or something like that.
Most of
on
them have
this
clause
price.
on the bottom that quotes.
But if
for
they
so
didn't
long.
get to it, that's not our fault.
I think we can hold them to it.
I don't know why we
We had
couldn't.
30 days to accept the bid.
And we did.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have to do some more checking on
Let me know
Yeah,
on
I-
that.
that. I will.
I thought of that the last time I went out that door down there, that should have been done right today. but-
Well, and
Yeah.
it's my understanding that he can't even get a hold of the guy. So,
Who
we might have to do.
was that?
Julix, wasn't it?
Julik.
I have the bid and stuff in a file, I'll pull that out
Okay.
and maybe do some check. Of course, they won't be doing it now, but.
So what's gonna happen here? You are going
I
to
will get
contact
I'll get hold of
John
John.
and say that this hasn't been
Yeah.
approved yet and
Yeah.
that,
That we need to get, need quotes, not a single quote.
right.
And as far as Monday for them getting carpet laid,
That's not gonna work.
Well, let him,
Yeah.
let whoever gave him the approval deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, we aren't, I mean, these are actual bills from
Yeah.
Sherwin-Williams for painting.
Yeah,
We're paying them, which is not good because it's billed on a county account.
Right.
But,
Again, I have a problem with anybody just saying, send the county the bill.
Mhm.
So what happens a year from now when another elected official pulls off a project like this because it was talked about and sends us a bill?
Depends on what happens on this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, this isn't any different than conservation, you know?
Mhm.
Anyone.
Having their
Any
bills,
department,
having
any
their,
department.
they're.
Look at Dave. I mean, he's got the most expenditures than anywhere, and he gets multiple quotes on anything, plus he gets board approval before he makes the purchase.
Yes.
And he spends $7 million a year.
He doesn't build a bridge until he gets approval from the board.
Right.
Well, he even comes in and tells you he's gonna get bids.
And he's not an
You
elected
know.
official, is probably what John would argue, but I mean, still, it's,
And we approved drain repairs.
But
As
regard-
little as that.
Right.
But
you know?
regardless of elected or not, it still has to come before her and this board.
right. Well, as long as we're congruent about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
No
make a
problem.
call,
I'll
but
make
tell
a
them,
phone call.
tell them you're just the messenger.
You know, and this doesn't even include
Yeah,
ceiling
yeah,
tile yet.
You don't,
Yeah.
this is nothing personal with you, Marty.
No, I know.
John has done something which is outside of his authority.
I don't know what's the sad part is, he's the one that should know that.
Oh, no, how it
The sad
feels.
part is he's the one that should know what the practice should be.
In front of some of us, there's no skid mark.
So, we'll leave it at that. I'll get hold of John and, and I'll request that he comes in next Monday. So, anything else? Okay, that will.
All the committee reports?
We got Mark's and mine, too.
Okay.
Monday was, and Neil had said that we had case management advisory board. We moved this meeting to 4 o'clock. It's our first one, the attempt to try and get more of the providers there that are members of the advisory board, and it failed. We didn't get any providers. Well, we had one provider there in Doreen, but we just didn't have very good luck with that. But anyways, we held a meeting, and as Neil had said, that it was just kind of a rehash of everything we've already learned. But I will give everybody just kind of a caseload update. The current caseloads are Morgan had 36, Kelsey had 36, Angela had 29, and Justin had 29. So there's still 130 cases active.
Board of Supervisors, Marty speaking.
So what happens to Kelsey's? You have to hire somebody?
We're in a meeting
what
right
we
now. Can I
met
take a number and he can get back to you shortly?
On Thursday about, and they proposed a plan.
Okay, thank you.
That you got a little skittish about.
Call back, somebody for you.
So 130 is the current caseload. But other than that, I think that was the only thing that I would add to it. And then on Thursday, as Neil said, we had met with Angela and Justin about their case manager resigning, and banded about a little bit, and I can give you more information on that too. One thing that I would just note that tomorrow, Jean and I are meeting with the Conservation Board at Union. And we have yet to hear what their initial proposal is, and so thus we have not provided them with an initial proposal. But just in speaking with, Jean and myself, I think that we're following the board's wishes to try and keep things as fair and consistent with the other units that we have in place. But if you or anybody had any disagreement with that, and particularly with what goes on with insurance, I would urge you to make your sentiments known prior to about 9:30 tomorrow. We certainly understand, how we represent the entire board, but if you have any kind of wishes that you want to have expressed, please get with either Jean or myself prior to then.
I think previously we've given them a 10% where insurance can get reopened if it changes by more than 10%. I think we should keep insurance more open than that to give us the flexibility of doing some changes with, in case the opportunity comes up with getting in a captive group or something. There may be some changes we'll have to make that would need to happen even if the insurance costs only go up 8% or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Or that's just my thoughts, but throwing that out for thoughts from the board. We're pretty in a pretty dynamic time as far as health insurance is concerned.
That is true. So if you just have any thoughts that you want to share with us, get with me.
Okay.
Individually.
We don't plan on dragging this thing out. Typically been the case there that this one gets drug out, we're not gonna buy into that.
Set a time limit on it.
Yeah, leave the car running.
Mhm.
So,
Actually, with the way people play together in the sandbox, I'd almost like to do something else different.
well, we still got to follow the letter, so we will. Anyways, that was the only thing I was just going to report. You got radio paper today?
Yes, I do. And newspaper. Geez, how could you not mention newspaper?
I said radio paper.
Oh, paper, okay.
Yeah.
He got you, he got you.
I said radio and paper.
He got you.
Play the tape back.
Okay, last Thursday I had Region 12 went in there and signed checks. Got some bad news there. As I was in there, Sam Parker, our assistant local planner, is put in his notice, November 17th must be the magic day.
The one we just met?
Yeah.
At the round table?
Yeah.
Well, he was just at Tuesday at the,
Yeah.
His wife accepted a position in Mankato, Minnesota, so he's leaving the 17th of November.
It's my anniversary, oh, everything is ending then.
Better be careful, Neil.
Comes in threes. And then was working on the courtroom issue with John last week. Got a hold of John on that. And then on Saturday, I went out to look at a drainage issue on Drain 102. I'm gonna go look at that with Dave tomorrow morning. It's over southwest of Glidden. We've got a couple county tiles that are in an open drainage ditch that look like they're blocked. So we may have to do some drainage repair there, but Dave and I are gonna look at that tomorrow, so. That's it for now. I got Wesco board meeting tonight, and then solid waste on tomorrow morning, and then Region 12 on Thursday, so that's my report. Courtney, do you have anything? Any comments from those in attendance? There are none. We're in order for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.